simple chat, I've got no guard. I feel like chat is way too easy. Falling in love, oh, isn't that cheesy? Oh, isn't that cheesy? I sit around all day just listening to love songs, thinking about how someday my someone will come along. I'm a hopeless romantic, afraid of commitment, but I can't help that I like to think, though my glasses are tinted rose pink. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with my you, glasses are tinted rose pink. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I live on dreams above the clouds, creating crushes out of crowds, molding stories out of clay, and knowing that it's all for play. It's all for play. I'd like to believe that something could happen with me, but I don't talk and I don't chat. I just lay awake hoping I'll find the key. I'm a hopeless romantic, afraid of commitment, but I can't help that I like to think, though my glasses are tinted rose pink. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with my you, glasses are tinted rose pink. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat. I feel like chat, but I won't chat. No, not with you, cause it fall flat.
Hi chat, hold on one moment. I'm going to do another song real quick so I can because I'm still doing things before I can, so I'm just going to do some Wilbur Soot music because why not? But ooh, look at that ads, but I will be back in 1 second, chat.
Coming up on this program, internet search form of
life isn't quite what I thought I'd be. When I was a kid on VOIP, I thought when I get older I'd marry her. I told her now I'm 26 and I work in an office. 9 till 5's not the best, I'll be honest. If I could change a single thing, I'd make it me and not him. He's in your bed, I'm in your Twitch chat. I've got the key and he's just a doormat. And even though he's got social skills, that doesn't mean I can't pay the bills. Anyway, make the most of him, 'cause she moves on pretty bloody quick. Oh, oh. Your new boyfriend's an asshole. Jared, of course I bet Jared. The one who took you away from me. You hit it off instantly. I know, cause you won't stop telling me defined shoulders and muscles push against his fashion sense. I've thought about what he looks like nude. I'm not gay though. 'Cause she's living the dream. Oh, she's living the dream. From back when we were 17. She's living the dream. Oh, she's
Hi, chat. Or Ash. Hi, Ash. It's really sad because one of my cats is like right out of view. But hi. How are you today, Ash? But, tell me if the music is too loud or too quiet behind me talking. But yeah, hi. I'm planning on obviously doing some Minecraft today. And then I'm good. I'm doing pretty good today. Music is good? Great. Okay, yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I was planning on doing Hypixel, of course. I don't have any, I haven't been playing anything else. I will most definitely be reading today. Would it be a good thing for me to just read? Because I was trying to find a second, my second, like a cord so I can, power cord for my other monitor so I can plug it into the outlet so like it has power, so I can use that. But you know, guess what? It's gone. I can't find it anywhere, and I don't know how because you know it was in the thing. So I don't know where it went. So I'm gonna need to buy a new one. So that's fun. Yeah, so I've been doing it one monitor show for the longest time. So I'm gonna need to fix that one. But I was trying to find it and I thought I found at least a cord that should work. Like that was my brother's or something. I don't know, I found it in my room. And I was like, ooh, this should work. It fits in outlet and everything. But nope, it doesn't. So oh my god, the Minecraft music is playing in the background and everything. Wow, let's do some Wilbur Soot today because I feel like it. Music. Okay. But yeah, Ash, how do you feel about doing I'm not wanting it to be on full face. Anyways, how do you feel about doing, like, because the reason why I was gonna have the second monitor is, one, it's a lot more useful. Two, because like, it would be a lot easier to read, so like I could, my god, stop. So I can edit things better. I'm just having so many technical difficulties. I'm just not gonna put my hand near my desk. But yeah, I was originally just going to use it because it would be easier to read. So when I can, you know, put the face cam up there so you don't have to see my whole setup and everything and all that jazz. But, you know, decided not to work. But how would you feel about like I know you don't mind. How do you feel about doing like a chill reading stream today? Because I wanted to stream today, but then I couldn't really think of any topics to talk about because it was just a long day today. So I was looking forward to streaming today. Yeah, sure. You're cool with reading streams, and if you ever get bored, I can always just look up like spooky Halloween stories. So do you want me to read Passerine or like the spooky Halloween stories? Because I'm fine with whatever. I just want it to be entertaining for you. And anybody else who joins eventually. I mean, yeah, I guess I can just get... Bro, it's pissing me off, though, that my Halloween... Bro, can it stop? Can it stop going to that? You know what? It needs to stop. It needs to stop. Is that going to make it go to the black screen? That will make it go to the black screen. You know what? No, I'm just going to do display capture. Woo, can Facecam work? Is Facecam going to work? Or is Facecam not going to work? I don't think Facecam is going to work. Is Facecam not going to work? That's gonna be so sad if it doesn't. You know, yeah, whatever. Halloween. I know I spelled that wrong. Don't judge me, Ash. I'm gonna get my phone so I can check chat real quick. But I will, because I obviously don't have anything, like, planned, like any spooky stories planned. I guess I'll just, like, read the different things. I realize I spelled Halloween wrong, which I need to fix that. No, I swear I can spell. I swear I can spell. I spelled it right. I did spell it right. Yay! Alright. It's fine, I can't spell either. Well, let's see. That's Harry Potter. So we have whatever this is, I guess. No smut, please. No sexual content. We don't want to get, you know, banned. It's a time of year again. 3 years later, Lexa and Clark are back in their hometown to take Aiden and his friends trick-or-treating with a bunch of mischievous 9-year-olds. I don't know. These all sound weird, man. If you see any of the titles that you like, just like, and like if you read the things, just tell me which ones you like, and then I guess I can read it. I should have probably planned this better. They do seem a bit weird. Should we read the, because this is really annoying me. I'm trying to think of, maybe if I spell stories correctly, then that would work better. Spooky stories. Ooh, X-Files are always fun. I just want to say that X-Files it's also a show too. Rum Tum Tugger. Oh no, that's Cats. I read Rum Tum Tugger and I immediately knew what it was. All right. Ooh yeah, X-Files. X-Files is. Do you want to read this X-Files story? 2. Have you ever seen the story? I mean, not the story, the movie. Not the movie, the show. God. Because I don't know. Have you seen the show X-Files? And then also, is the music like distracting? I can always turn off the music if it's distracting. I saw some of it. Yeah. And then yeah, is the music in the background distracting? Should I change it, or no? The music is good. Okay. I do not own the TV show X-Files. X-Files were its characters. Yeah. Is this gonna have to do with? It does. It says Mulder. Oh my god! It literally says Mulder and Scully. This says Mulder and Scully. Am I gonna get like? It says it everywhere. Am I gonna get like? Is this a bad thing for me to read this? Is this gonna be a bad thing for me to read this? I'm gonna read it anyway. I only have 1 viewer. This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna read it. It'll be fine. You're the only person here, Ash. Spooky Stories, New Orleans Field Office, 1991. Agent Rise sat at her desk in the FBI field office on a Monday morning. She was editing a report on a crime scene she had just inspected. Rise was looking for any sign of satanic ritual abuse at the scene, but once again she didn't find any evidence to support the supernatural. So Rise sat at her desk editing the report for her colleague. FBI agent Bert Sampson came in, laughing with his other colleague. "Hey Rise," Bert said with a laugh. Rise looked up and raised an eyebrow. "Hey Sampson, what's so funny? Crow's got your donut again?" She asked sarcastically. She found Sampson hard to get on with. He never really took things seriously, and he did and he never did any hard work. Luckily, Rise was posted in the office next to his, so she didn't have to work with him. There were 7 agents in each room at the field office, and Rise sat in the back where she could work in peace. But she couldn't today, she thought with a sigh. They were joined in the office by Bert's friend, Agent Edward Morris, and they were both laughing. Nice guess, Rise, Bert replied as he finished off his donut. Why are you guys here? I have a lot of work to get through, Rise told them. Bert and Edward shared a grin. We're here to share a good campfire story told by your idol, Spooky Mulder, Edward said. Rise looked up eagerly. That got her attention. Unlike her colleagues, she was the black sheep and loved hearing stories about Mulder and Scully's latest cases in the X-Files office down in the basement of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover building. I didn't know it was called that, I guess. No matter how small or trivial the news was, Rise always got excited when listening to Mulder and Scully's stories. They fascinated her as it tied in with her work as a believer in satanic rituals. People at the office made fun of her too, but not so much as they did about Agent Scully and Mulder. Ever since she joined the FBI in 1990, this seems like, okay, this is a really lame thing. It is literally just, this is, okay. I like how I read most of it and then decided that it was too boring. What if I just look up scary stories? This is boring. I'm so sorry. I should have thought ahead, man. I so should have. I should probably, like, I will do, we can read some more past Serene if we can find it. Yeah, I was just about to say, what if I just read past Serene today, and then, I'll do a lot more research tomorrow for, spooky stories, and then we can read spooky stories. Also, do you like my background? Look, it's from, Mario Odyssey. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, tomorrow I will look up more, Bible dramas. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a little blurry, but that's fine. Chapter 2. Like carnelian bells, the house of Augustus rings. Wilbur did not know what to make of the visitor, the traveler, whatever he was. Father had come down to the garden with him, and Wilbur could tell he was sad. He didn't know if the visitor had been the cause or something else. Someone else. A formal introduction is in order, Father had told Wilbur and Tommy. This is Technoblade, an old friend. He'll be tutoring you for a while, Wilbur. Wilbur had just stared up at the man, seeing him in the soft morning light at last. Technoblade. Tommy was right. It was a pretty dumb name. And one Wilbur had heard before, though he wasn't sure where. He was tall and lean and most likely a few years older than Wilbur. He was dressed like him too, with poofy sleeves that Tommy always made him look like an old man. Always said made him look like an old man. An emerald earring hung from Technoblade's left ear, similar to the one that Father wore in a golden chain around his neck, tucked secretively under his dress shirt. Was he some sort of royalty too, then? Some foreign prince or a distant cousin that Father never bothered to tell Wilbur about? Father kept many secrets. This may just be one of a million. Technoblade had taken one look at Wilbur, nodded, and then said, "We'll start at dawn," before leaving them. Wilbur had packed to stare at him, perplexed. What? Father had struggled to keep a smile off his face. That's Techno for you. Now they were sitting in the dining hall, each to their own thoughts, except Tommy, whose thoughts always must come out of his mouth, regardless of who was or wasn't listening. And Wilbur tripped me, but then I got up very quickly. You saw that, didn't you, Dad? Dad, didn't you? I saw, Father said distractedly. He was staring down at his half-eaten plate as if he held the secrets of the universe. Wilbur assumed he was only doing it so he wouldn't be staring at Mother's empty seat. She'd been taking more and more of her meals in their bedroom. Tommy hadn't noticed yet, but Wilbur did. Wilbur always did. And this Techno fella, he's a bit of an odd one, isn't he? Will he be treating me too? Will I have to wake up at dawn like Wilbur? Wilbur grimaced. Please don't remind me, Tommy. Tommy stuck his tongue out at him from across the table. It's not like you have any other plans. I'm sure you'll just be staying up reading again. He gestured dramatically to himself. I, for one, would love to be under the tutelage of Mr. Technoblade, stupid as his name may be. The two of them turned to their father, one with starry-eyed expectation and other with morbid curiosity. Father sighed fondly before ruffling Tommy's hair. Sorry, little buddy. Maybe we can find someone else for you. I'm sure the captain would be willing to. But I want the blade, Tommy whined. Wilbur snorted. Yeah, as if he could even wake up early enough. You'll still be in bed by noon. I can see it now. Father gave Wilbur a cheeky grin he only reserved for his eldest son. Tell you what, Tommy, if you can wake up with Wilbur, then you can watch him train with Techno. Truly? Tommy kicked back from the table, nearly upsetting Father's glass of wine. Good night then. Early to bed. Early to the prize, as they always say. Who's that? Who says that, Tommy? Oh my God. Who says that? Wilbur said, but Tommy had already gone off, leaving Wilbur with their father in the silence. For a while, the only sound were utensils scraping against plates and Wilbur's heartbeat in his ears. He would never admit it to Tommy or anyone, but his relationship with his father was always better with his brother around. It wasn't that Wilbur didn't love for his father, or that he thought his father didn't love him. Wilbur couldn't remember it happening, but somewhere along the way of studying warfare and politics, of staring up at the throne that would one day be his, of learning how to be a prince, he'd forgotten how to be a son. And sometimes when Father thought he couldn't see, Father would look at him with bottomless grief, like he was mourning something already lost. It should be Tommy, Wilbur had thought. Sunny Tommy, who managed to charm everyone he met, in spite of, or perhaps because of, his loud disposition. Not him, not when Father looked at him like that. Wilbur swallowed the last visitors and was set to go, if not for his father speaking once more. Wilbur? Yes, Father? Father leaned against his hand as he considered Wilbur. Do you want me to be there for you tomorrow? Wilbur scoffed half-heartedly. I'm not a child, Father. Of course, Father said, but Technoblade is still a stranger to you. Wilbur pursed his lips as he thought about his father's words. Do you trust him? Yes, Father replied at once. Wilbur nodded. Then I trust him. Father stared at him for a long minute, and then nodded. There was nothing else to say, it seemed, and so Wilbur left, leaving his father to the quiet. Tommy's doors firmly shut by the time Wilbur arrived at their sleeping quarters. Wilbur's own door stood ajar, waiting. Moonlight spilled from the arched windows, painting everything in silver. The bed littered with half-finished books, and the desk bearing scars from Wilbur's manifold frustrations in writing music for the guitar that sat discarded on the floor. Mother had given him that guitar for his 10th birthday. He used to play lullabies or spooky songs when he was in the mood for older brother mischief, for Tommy, before Tommy decided he was a big man and moved out to the bedroom across the hall. His body felt heavy with thoughts. Technoblade, the boy who looked not much older than him, now tasked at tutoring him. At what? Father had not been forthcoming with that, amongst other things. With a sigh, Wilbur grabbed the guitar from the floor and dragged it with him to the window. As he plucked idly at the strings, he gazed out at the horizon beyond the glass, the sprawling lawns at the castle ending in the foreboding gates. Side note, this was a really good song to come on because Wilbur's actually, plucking the strings. But anyways, just thought that was cool. With a sigh, Wilbur... Oh, I already read that. The sprawling lawns of the castle ending at the foreboding gates, and then after that, his kingdom, his birthright. He played a single discordant chord. Nothing had come easily to him recently. Music, literature, conversation, everything, all at once, had become taxing. Even laughing with his brother felt like a chore. Wilbur's fingers stilled on what was undoubtedly going to be another bad note. Something was moving down on the lawn. He squinted at the figure until it came into a sharper focus. Technoblade? Wilbur pressed his face closer to the glass just to make sure his eyes had not deceived him. There were many people in the kingdom with pink hair, but perhaps fewer who also moved with the lethal grace of a python. Technoblade walked across the lawn and disappeared past the gates without a glance back. It wasn't until his breath fogged up the window completely that Wilbur realized he was hyperventilating. He pulled away from the glass and stumbled over his guitar on his way to his bed. He pulled the covers over himself as if the darkness would dampen his thoughts. Where is he going? Followed by, will he come back? Will he come back? Will he come back? Will he? You're late. Wilbur blinked in the dim sunlight, barely breaking through the horizon. What? He blinked some more until finally he recognized his surroundings. The smooth marble floor, the 4 columns sculpted like gods spraying up the flat roof, ivy flowing over the roof's edge like a waterfall, curtaining them off from the rest of the garden. This was the training pavilion. Ooh, somebody's calling me. Hold on 1 second. Let me. I just need to hang up on them, and then I'm also gonna change. Okay. Where was I? It's alright. I completely lost my place. Oh. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to do something, category. Just chatting. Oops, I spelled chatting wrong. Am I done? Okay. Ooh, okay. Change the stream, the stream thing. End of third line. Thank you for that, because I definitely lost my place. End of third line. Yes, I have it. This was the training pavilion, Father's personal training area, where he attempted to teach Wilbur fencing before it became clear that weaponry was not to be Wilbur's forte. It's all right, son, Father had said, carefully tending to the cut on Wilbur's leg from his own rapier. Is it rapier? I think it's rapier. Kings don't really need to know how to fight. That's what armies are for. Father had sounded angry as he said this, but Wilbur somehow knew it wasn't because of him. But you know how, Wilbur had pouted, dutifully trying to hold back tears. His father applied stinging herbs to his wounds. Well, said Father, that's different. Different how? Just different. Father finished tying the bandages around Wilbur's leg and smiled at him. I'll tell you when you're older. He never had. But it wasn't Father standing before Wilbur today. Well, Technoblade said, gesturing to the heavy chest in his corner. We're burning daylight here, little prince. Hurry up. Wilbur blinked again. Sorry, but how did I... Technoblade stared at him quietly as they both waited for Wilbur to finish his sentence. His eyes are red, Wilbur noted distantly. Even as he struggled to remember anything else, he could not recall falling asleep or waking up, or walking down to meet his new tutor for the first lesson. Well, Technoblade prodded. Wilbur shook his head. Nothing. What are we, learning today? I forgot how to word. I completely forgot how to word for a second. Technoblade cocked his head to the side, unimpressed. His hair had been pulled into a braid so tight that it hurt Wilbur's scalp by proxy. Philza said you're crap at fencing. Wilbur grimaced as he walked over to the chest, kneeling to filter through its contents. That's one way of saying it. He picked up one of the swords and turning to Technoblade, who'd apparently brought his own weapon, a wicked-looking broadsword with a ruby-encrusted hilt. I'm a bit better at long-range weapons, if you're wondering. I wasn't, Technoblade snorted. Get into position. Wilbur did. That's not correct. Wilbur sighed. I told you. Technoblade walked closer to Wilbur until they were eye to eye. Wilbur was a few inches taller than him, he realized. At least until Technoblade knocked him flat on his back with a sudden blow to the stomach. The air left Wilbur's lungs in a rush. He blinked lazily up at the ceiling for a moment before the indignation set in. He leaned himself against his elbows and glared at the tutor, who was looking more and more unimpressed. You could have withstood that if you were in the correct position, Technoblade drawled. You could have warned me, Wilbur spat, clambering to his feet. Oh, is that how a fight goes, your highness? Technoblade mocked. All right then, if it pleases you, your princeliness, I shall be striking your shoulder with the flat of my blade next. What? Quicker than a breath, Technoblade did just that, Wilbur landing on his side, his own weapon flying out of his hands. Technoblade laughed with no real warmth. I even warned you that time, and I still knocked you over. Gods, you're pathetic. Wilbur wanted to say, I'm calling my father, but caught himself before he could give that ammunition to the smug bastard. Instead, he got shakily to his feet, his entire body smarting from the impact of the floor, and picked his rapier from the ground. He got into position again. Technoblade raised one eyebrow. This would go faster if you told me what's wrong with it, Wilbur grumbled. This would go even faster if you didn't fumble your basics, Technoblade retorted. Shut up. Strong demands from a boy who can't even get his left foot placed properly. Wilbur considered his words. He moved his left foot inch by inch, watching Technoblade until the man finally gave a curt nod. Wilbur sighed. See, that wasn't... Oh my gods. Wilbur barely had time to throw up his rapier before Technoblade crashed his sword against it. Steel hissed. Wilbur's knees buckled under Technoblade's surprising strength. It felt like having an entire house collapse on him, and if he fell, he'd be crushed. Technoblade fell back, leaving Wilbur with his heart hammering in his chest. What was that? Wilbur demanded. You could have killed me that time. I could have killed you multiple times since you first walked in here. Technoblade gestured to him to get into position. Again. Never let your guard down, Your Highness. Always assume the enemy is planning to strike. What even is the point of this? Wilbur asked. The kingdom has been at peace for gods know how long. I don't need to risk my neck for a skill that doesn't even matter. Technoblade considered him for a long moment, the silence between them only broken by the beginnings of bird song as the rest of the world finally began to wake. And what will you do when it does matter? Technoblade asked. It never will, but let's say it will, Technoblade interrupted, taking a step towards Wilbur, his eyes red, never once leaving the prince's face. Let's say, hypothetically, that a foreign army attacks at this very moment. Your father isn't here to help. Nobody's here to help. It's just you. Do you just stand there and get torn apart by the mob? Will you run like a coward and leave your kingdom to the wolves? Wilbur flinched. That's not, or not even an army, consider. If you will, just one very smart, very angry person, and they've got your brother. Technoblade smirked at whatever expression was on Wilbur's face. That's all it takes, you know, to kill a kingdom. A single person who knows your weak spots. So what you need to do is get rid of them. The weak spots, I mean. This kingdom is only impenetrable because Philza has long ago gotten rid of every vulnerability. So what happens when you take the throne? That's not true, Wilbur said quietly, staying at the downpour of Technoblade's words. My father, he does have vulnerabilities. He has mother, Tommy, me. But he has the powers to protect them, Technoblade replied, and you don't. That's the difference. The sun had climbed higher into the sky, painting everything in gold. Through the gaps of the ivy, the warm light shone on Wilbur's skin, warming him from the inside out. He imagined the light seeping into his skin, into his bones, into the cracks of his soul until he could be made whole again. A boy of sunlight, like Tommy. He wanted the sun to burn away the tiredness, the sadness, the thoughts. He wanted the sun to burn Technoblade too, with his harsh words made harsher by their truth. Wilbur took a shaky breath, letting the fresh air in and trapping it in his lungs for as long as he could. Then he let it out. He glared at Technoblade, then got into position. Fine, he spat. Do your worst. Well, but you look like trash, Tommy said brightly over a plate of eggs. Tommy, father scolded. No, Technoblade mumbled through his mouthful of meat. The boy is right, Phil. Wilby does look like trash. Wilbur groaned at their remarks and then groaned some more when the movement made his ribs feel like they were cracking apart. Bruises were already starting to form up and down his arms from the various times Technoblade had knocked him to the floor. He couldn't even reach for his utensils without pain lacing up his side, and so breakfast remained tantalizingly out of reach right in front of him. Tommy's initial annoyance at sleeping in and missing the blade in action was only matched by his absolute delight in seeing his older brother so battered, and then exceeded by his excitement when father invited Technoblade for breakfast to recount how terribly Wilbur had performed. It was to track his progress, or some sort of excuse like that. Though Wilbur guessed father just wanted to stop Technoblade from disappearing wherever he goes off to, like last night. Did he cry? Tommy demanded, practically vibrating off of his chair. Technoblade, seated next to him, cut another piece of meat and chewed ponderously on it before answering. Almost. Wicked, Tommy breathed. Oh, I should probably do it how he is, but that's fine. Wicked, Tommy breathed. Father glanced at Wilbur worriedly, taking in his bruises. Techno, maybe next time you can go easy a bit? No, Wilbur said hurriedly, wincing when his sore limbs protested. No, I told him not to hold back. Father raised an eyebrow. I doubt that. No, really, I need this, Father, Wilbur insisted. His legs felt like the lead and some of his bones were definitely misplaced, but by the end of their 5-hour session, he learned where to strike to kill and where to strike to incapacitate, and how to block attacks as much as deal them, and how to fight off stronger opponents, which for you would be all of them. Technoblade had said as he righted Wilbur's grip on his rapier. Let the boy bruise little, Phil. Technoblade said, now downing a glass of wine. It's good practice. Good distraction, too. Distraction? Wilbur looked to his father, but he was busy trying to force a bowl of vegetables on Tommy. When he looked again, Wilbur found himself meeting eyes with Technoblade. The other boy considering him at length, Wilbur had caught sight of that expression multiple times in the past 5 hours. Like Technoblade was inspecting him, less with the scrutiny of a teacher and more like the intense focus of a surgeon trying not to make the wrong cut. What? Wilbur finally asked. Do I have something on my face? Yes. Defeat. Wilbur resisted the urge to stick out his tongue like Tommy undoubtedly would have done. You're a very rude guest. You're a very weak prince. I don't see what my physical prowess, or lack thereof, Technoblade inserted, has to do with you being such a pissy bastard, Wilbur finished hotly. Wilbur, Tommy, father said, swiveling to face his eldest son. Cursing in front of your baby brother? I taught you better manners than that. I'm not a baby, Tommy protested. And what is piss? I think that's my cue to go, Technoblade interrupted suddenly, rising from his seat. To where? Father asked. None of your business, actually, Technoblade replied, not flippantly or arrogantly, just stating a fact. Father's grip tightened infamously on his spoon. I think it is my business, if you're living in my castle. Technoblade shrugged. Try and stop me, then. They stared each other down, the king and his visitor, red eyes on blue. A moment passed, then another. Father did not move. That's what I thought, Technoblade scoffed, and then disappeared in a whirl of fur and scarlet silk. Wilbur glanced at Father, trying to gauge his reaction. Father had never seemed truly old, but in that moment, it felt like Wilbur was watching him age 1,000 years per second. Who is he really? Wilbur asked before he could lose the nerve. Father blinked slowly, as if coming out of a dream. An old friend, I told you. From when? He can't be that old of a friend. He's just a teenager. When did you meet him? Wilbur repeated. Father pursed and unpursed his lips like he was trying to swallow something rancid. Why does it matter, Wilbur? Because you look at him like you look at me. I don't know what to make of that. Father's gaze pinned Wilbur to his seat, even more than the soreness of his body did. Even Tommy had fallen quiet, sensing, in the way that younger siblings do, that his brother was in the sort of trouble that required absolute silence. And how do I look at you, Will? Father asked. Like I disappoint you? Like I did something to hurt you and you're sad I can't remember what? It doesn't matter, Wilbur mustered what was left of his strength and rose from his seat. My other non-violent tutors are waiting, and if you'll excuse me, Father, Tommy Tommy stared back at him wide-eyed. Father only sighed. It's a long story, Wilbur, he said with infinite patience. Wilbur would have preferred, he screamed, and not one you're ready to hear, either of you, he added, giving Tommy a reassuring smile. But one day sure, Wilbur turned from them and began to walk away. One day, whenever that is. He respected a rebuttal, or perhaps wanted one. But as always, there was nothing left to say. They carried on like that for months more. Every morning, Wilbur would pull himself out of bed and head down to the gardens where Technoblade would always be waiting, even after the times he threatened to leave, and times that it looked like he was truly going to. Technoblade would walk Wilbur through his stances and correct them by demonstrating how exactly it could be turned against him. The tutor was never fully pleased, but eventually they made their way through the weapons in the chest and had to request for more to practice with, spears and knives and axes. They never spoke beyond the usual instructions, and Wilbur never complained again. A few weeks in, he almost disarmed Technoblade during a sparring session with a rapier, before Technoblade inevitably knocked him over again. I almost got you, Wilbur had grinned, even as he picked himself up from the floor. Almost won't cut it in the battlefield, Princeling, Technoblade had said with a roll of his eyes. Now it's going easy on you. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Technoblade snorted. I don't sleep. Wilbur was still debating whether he'd been joking or not. Eventually, Tommy's jealousy outweighed his drowsiness, and he began to follow Wilbur to the training pavilion, yawning all the way, with his blanket wrapped around his shoulders and trailing in the dewy grass. He'd sit on the floor, shouting unhelpful advice and laughing at his brother's failures. Technoblade, the younger prince had said at one point, will you chain me alongside Wilbur? Technoblade had eyed Tommy and his blanket, looking so serious that Wilbur thought he might actually be sizing up his little brother. Well, you do have similar skill levels. Hey! Wilbur tossed a stray pebble at Technoblade's head. It bounced harmlessly off his braided hair. I want to be strong like you, Tommy said, uncharacteristically solemn as he stared up at the older boys. And like Dad. He raised his gangly arms up to them. Look at these, Technoblade. They're pulsing with potential. Technoblade arched an eyebrow at him, an amused smile tugging at his lips. Little Prince, you are years away yet from needing to learn anything. Your brother's training so you don't have to. Understood? Tommy pouted but nodded, Wilbur staring at him, feeling as if he'd just witnessed the taming of a wild beast. He glanced at Technoblade, who had walked over to one corner of the pavilion to stretch. How'd you get Tommy to not kick and scream like he does when he doesn't get what he wants from me? Wilbur called out. I don't kick and scream, Tommy huffed. I let out a manly whine. It's probably because he respects me and not you, Technoblade replied curtly. Wilbur whirled on his brother. Is that true? He demanded, with Fox hurt. Tommy shrugged. I'd respect you more if you weren't reading all the time. I'm not reading now, Wilbur said. At the same time, Technoblade called out, I know how to read, too, just to put it out there. Afterwards, they would eat breakfast together. Sometimes there'd just be Wilbur, Technoblade, and Tommy going over the practice session. Technoblade with his dry corrections and Tommy with his enthusiastic, albeit often inaccurate input. But often Father would join them, and Wilbur would be lying if he said he didn't feel a bit validated whenever Technoblade praised, or as close as a man could get to praise, his improvements in front of his father. Mother had taken to waking late and took her breakfast in her room. They'd visit her there, Wilbur and Tommy, but she'd often be too tired to speak at all. Tommy tried to introduce Technoblade to her once, but she was already asleep again by the time they arrived at her bedchambers. Probably for the best, Technoblade said. I've been told you don't make great first impressions with mothers, mostly because I met them after I just slaughtered their children. Please reserve the morbid jokes for after Tommy's gone to bed, Technoblade, Wilbur said. What does slaughtered mean? Tommy asked. I tickled them, Technoblade said. Oh, to death. Oh. Wilbur had hit Technoblade on the shoulder, but he was laughing too. 3 months in, Technoblade finally relented in letting Wilbur practice long-range weapons, which turned out not to be his forte after all. The session had to stop after Wilbur almost took out Tommy's eyes with an arrow. Tommy was inconsolable. Please don't tell Father, Wilbur begged as he kneeled in front of his wailing brother, wiping Tommy's cheeks as fast as the tears came. It was an accident, Tommy. Technoblade was cackling, leaning against one of the pavilion's sculpted pillars. You should see her face, he managed to wheeze out between his guffaws. Oh, gods, this is too hilarious. Wilbur turned to glare at him. You do know if he tells Father that means you're in trouble, too. Technoblade snorted. I'm not scared of your father. There it was, again, the arrogant dismissal, as if Father were nothing to him. Wilbur clenched his jaw to keep the barbed remarks from spilling. Tommy was still wailing, his tiny face turning red from the effort. Okay, Technoblade said after a long moment. This is getting annoying now. Stop. Tommy didn't. Tommy, stop, Wilbur said more loudly. Tommy stopped only to wipe his nose on his sleeve, hiccup, and then wail again. What's wrong with him? That usually works, Technoblade grumbled, stalking closer to them with the caution of a hunter approaching a wild animal. Welcome to the world of Big Brotherhood, Wilbur replied bitterly, still wiping gently at Tommy's face. We hope you enjoy your stay, but most likely you will suffer. Technoblade came to kneel beside Wilbur. Tommy, Technoblade demanded, this is very irritating. What are you doing? Please quiet down. Tom responded by crying louder. Oh, for the love of... What will it take for you to shut up? I'll do anything at this point. The crying stopped immediately. Oh, gods. Wilbur put his face in his hands. You're not supposed to say that, Techno. You're never supposed to say that. What? What? Technoblade demanded, panic seeping into his voice for the first time since Wilbur met him. What did I do? What the hell did I do? Tommy sniffled. You said you'll do anything? Realization dawned on Technoblade's face. Well, not anything, per se. Tommy's eyes began to water once more. Okay. Technoblade ran his hands across his face in frustration. Fine. One thing and you'll shut up forever. I want you to braid your hair, Tommy said at once. Technoblade blinked. What? What? Wilbur echoed. You once got me to let you ride me like a pony across the castle, and you asked him to let you braid his hair? Tommy nodded with all the solemnity of a judge announcing someone's death sentence. Wilbur and Tommy exchanged glances. Technoblade, one of bewilderment, and Wilbur, one of utmost betrayal. This was how they found themselves wasting the morning away, sitting together on the damp grass. Wilbur leaned back on his hands and raised his face to the sun, letting the light settle against his skin. He could hear Tommy scurrying around, gathering flowers as the spring breeze blew through the garden. For a moment, all Wilbur could feel was a sudden, all-consuming affection, not for anything in particular, for everything. For the brilliant spinning wheel in the sky turning everything into burnished gold, for the soft dirt beneath his hands, for the air in his lungs and the pollen on his tongue, for the distant sound of his brother's footsteps, for the boy sitting beside him, that against all odds, Wilbur found he might actually like beyond mere tolerance. for the levity that they had started to chase away the more exhausting thoughts. He cracked one eye open and found Technoblade staring at him again, with that all-too-serious look again. "What?" Wilbur asked. "Can't a man be glad that he's not getting tossed around for one morning?" Technoblade scoffed. "Don't discredit my teaching skills like that. You've been getting tossed around less and less these days. Was that supposed to be a compliment? None of my compliments will ever be meant. They will be passive-aggressive at best, openly hostile at worst. Of course, we have to pry positive affirmation from your cold, dead hands. Is that it?" "Only way to earn it," Technoblade confirmed. Then, before Wilbur could think twice about it, he said, "What did you mean before when you told Father our tutoring sessions were a distraction?" "A distraction from what?" Technoblade's expression darkened for a fraction of a second before he schooled it into careful neutrality. "I lost my spotting." Okay. He shrugged nonchalantly. Growing boys like you meant to have hobbies beyond whatever you were doing before." I read," Wilbur said, and played music. That was a sufficient distraction, I think. Not according to Filza. "Why do you talk like that, by the way?" Wilbur shifted to look at Technoblade squarely in the eyes. "You call the king Filza, which I can excuse because you. But Father also calls you an old friend, and I've asked Mother because Father tells Mother everything. But she never heard of you before. And you all of these things. And you all of this sentence doesn't make sense. And you all of these things. You know all of these things about weapons and warfare. Far too much. You're from a kingdom that has enjoyed peace for decades, Princeling," Technoblade said, with a world's worth of exhaustion in his voice. "Beyond those walls, it's different. Knowing war young is not internally uncommon. Kids just grow faster out there. They have to." Wilbur took fists full of grass and threw it at Technoblade's face. Technoblade, unmused, simply blew the grass from his face. "Very mature, Your Highness," Technoblade said dryly. "You're being all sad again," Wilbur muttered, pulling his knees up to his chin. He looked up just as Tommy came toddling towards them. His arms burst of color, yellow alstroemeras, white daisies, purple malvas, and fresias, the color of Technoblade's hair. "Oh, gods," Technoblade groaned as Tommy dumped his collection before them proudly. Tommy grinned as he kneeled behind Technoblade. Daddy used to braid Mama's hair all the time before she got tired. He taught me how." Technoblade turned towards Wilbur. "Should I be worried?" "Very," Wilbur said sagely. "At least he doesn't have scissors this time," he added, recalling a particularly incensed butler who'd foolishly offered himself to be Tommy's training dummy last year and ended up with less hair than he bargained for. Tommy turned Technoblade's head away from Wilbur. "Hold still," he ordered, beginning to take handfuls of Technoblade's hair, tugging them into place. "Ow!" Technoblade said after a particularly harsh pull. "Sorry," Tommy said cheerfully and began to braid in earnest. Wilbur sat back and watched him in silence, his ferocious tutor and his even more ferocious younger brother. The sunlight seemed to catch in the tangles of Tommy's hair, making it shine like a golden halo. Wilbur had never seen anyone as focused as Tommy was in that moment, working through Technoblade's hair, pausing only to debate on what flowers should go where. And Technoblade, for his part, did not move at all, or let out so much of a word of complaint, even when Tommy took time to educate them on what exactly each flower meant. "I could write a song about this," Wilbur mused, and then marveled at the thought. It was as if it was a block he'd been carrying for years lifted, and his art was now inches away from his hands. If only he'd brought his guitar with him today. "Tomorrow," he promised himself. "I'll write our song tomorrow." "There," Tommy said at last, tying the end of the braid off with the red ribbon Technoblade often used himself. Wilbur blinked in surprise. "Tommy, that's actually good. Really good." Technoblade reached back and ran his hands delicately over the elegant braid and the flowers woven into it. He hummed appreciatively, then caught himself before he could fully smile, because he was still Technoblade after all. "Decent," was his only comment. "I'm not done yet," Tommy said, and then produced one more flower, a single yellow rose. "This one's my favorite," he added as he gently tucked the flower behind Technoblade's ear, the one that had the emerald earring that Wilbur had found so familiar, "because it means friendship." Technoblade stiffened, his mouth opened and closed, like he was trying to breathe but forgot how, before he finally said, "Are we friends then?" Tommy stood and brushed grass from his pants. "Well, obviously." "Obviously?" Oh hey, the sudden excitement in Tommy's tone caught both Technoblade and Wilbur's attention. He began waving to someone in the distance, his smile as bright as life itself. "It's Dad and Mama." "Mother?" Wilbur was on his feet at once, his heart hammering in his chest like a moth set aflame. Sure enough, there was Mother, out in the sun once more for the first time in over a year. Wilbur took in a shaky inhale, not daring to breathe again, as if the image before him would dissipate like smoke. Mother, smiling at them as she walked arm in arm with Father through the garden. Tommy ran as fast as his tiny legs could carry him, launched himself into Mother's waiting arms. Wilbur couldn't ignore the brief flash of pain that flickered over his mother's features as she gathered Tommy into a hug, but neither could he help himself relief at seeing her walk at all. "Well," Technoblade said from behind him. "Go ahead, then." Wilbur turned to his tutor and, before Technoblade could protest, took him by the wrist and dragged him over to where Mother and Father were waiting. Father's smile was gentle and welcoming, and Wilbur could almost forgive the sadness that remained in his eyes, like a ghost hovering at the edges of a celebration. "You must be Technoblade," Mother said happily, carrying Tommy in her arms as she addressed the tutor. "I do apologize that it has taken us this long to be acquainted, though Phil has been telling me all that you have done for our Wilby." Wilbur expected Technoblade's usual icy jabs and was quite surprised when he bowed his head in what could pass as a deference to an untrained eye. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Your sons have told me so much about you." Mother gave Technoblade a conspirator? However you say that, grin as she asked. "And I trust all they've said is in my favor, yes? Nothing but how sharp my tongue can be when I'm cranky." "Oh, I assure you, they painted you as nothing less than perfect." Technoblade glanced at Father, although Philza might have said a thing or two about your rigid standards for tea. Father chuckled. He pressed closer to Mother and Tommy, keeping an arm around Mother's waist as if to steady her, as if it was to hold her together just a little bit longer. "I told you that in confidence, Techno." "Technoblade," Mother repeated. "That's a rather odd name." "I said the same thing," Tommy added brightly, always eager to be part of the adults' conversation. Technoblade only shrugged, once again demonstrating a level of civility that Wilbur would never have expected of the same man that regularly combated the king's orders. "I feel too much like a traitor if I abandoned it now. After all these years with it, it is my once constant companion, more loyal than most." "Loyalty is a rather precious gift," Mother sighed softly. She transferred Tommy to one arm and reached out with the other, until she was cupping Technoblade's cheek. "I do hope, my boy," she continued, her voice as tranquil as the still lake, "that you find the people you trust more than your own name. You deserve that, and more for all you have done for my family." Technoblade blinked slowly at her, for once struck speechless. Tommy giggled. Techno is blushing." "No, I'm not," Tommy spat hotly. "Yes, you are." "Yes, you are," Tommy cooed, leaning back into Mother. "That's not cooing." "Okay, I'm going to start at this sentence." "I'm not," Technoblade spat hotly. "Yes, you are," Tommy cooed, leaning back into Mother's arms, safe in the belief that she would never drop him. "You so are." "Tommy, don't torture the poor child," Mother said, even as she giggled herself. "Will," Father reached out and ruffled Wilbur's hair playfully. "You look 100 miles away." Wilbur exhaled slowly. "I'm just remembering." "Remembering what?" "This." Mother's soft smile, Tommy's cheery laugh, Technoblade's half-hearted protests, Father's hand on his head, everything. "Nothing," Wilbur said. "Forget I said anything." He smiled at his father for once without reservation. He had never felt so light. He was almost a son again. "Would you like to watch Techno and I spar?" Father's expression softened. "Of course, I would be delighted to." It was the last good day. It came at midnight. The knock came at midnight. It dragged Wilbur. I'm going to pause the music real quick because this is like a good moment. The knock came at midnight. It dragged Wilbur from the comfort of the dreamless sleep. Wilbur! Technoblade's voice, urgent, almost angry. "Wilbur, open the door!" Wilbur threw off his covers and bolted for the door. Technoblade stood outside his bedchambers, his red eyes blazing in the dark. He said 3 words that would come to haunt Wilbur until the day he died. "It's your mother." They ran through the castle, Wilbur for the first time outpacing his tutor. They arrived at the long hallway that led to his parents' bedchambers, already choked with servants. "Move!" Technoblade demanded, his voice booming over the din. "Move, or I will make you!" The servants rushed to the sides, clearing a path for Wilbur and Technoblade. Wilbur couldn't register any of their faces or their voices. All there was silence, until the worst sound Wilbur had ever heard, an anguished cry that turned Wilbur's blood cold. "Tommy. Tommy's here." He burst into the room and found his brother curled into a ball by the foot of the bed where his mother laid, sleeping. No, not sleeping. Not sleeping, not sleeping, not sleeping. Wilbur could not breathe. Tommy was still crying for the mother, for their father. "Father!" Wilbur's eyes scanned the room, but there was no trace of the king, no trace of the man who had just lost his wife. "Tommy!" Technoblade pushed past Wilbur into the room. Wilbur could see him, could see it all, but it felt like watching someone else's life happen from leagues under the sea. Everything happened too slowly, too distantly. Technoblade kneeling by his brother, prying him off of the cold floor. Tommy wrapping his arms around Technoblade's neck, burying his head into his shoulders and screaming, so loud, too loud. Technoblade turned towards Wilbur, handing him something, pressing it into Wilbur's cold fingers. Wilbur looked down at his hands. It was a letter, crumpled, tear-stained, by his own tears, he realized belatedly. "Techno," it said, "tell the boys I'm sorry, and tell Wilbur he will be a better king than I ever was." The world fell out from under Wilbur's feet, leaving him suspended in the air, free-falling with no true end. "No," he thought, or maybe said, or maybe screamed. No, this wasn't how it was supposed to go." "Oh," said the voices. "But this has already happened before." Wilbur blinked and blinked. "Father's gone?" he said, not taking his eyes off from the letter. "He left?" Wilbur, Technoblade's voice rising above Tommy's, agonizing soft. Was that worry in the other boy's voice? "I found the letter slipped under my door, and by the time I came here, it was too late. Your mother, she was also gone." The letter began to shake violently. Or not the letter, Wilbur's hands, but she was just here this morning. She watched us spar. She was smiling. She was alive, Technoblade. Techno. It was inevitable. Wilbur clamped his hands over his ears. "Shut up!" It was meant to be. "Go away, Wilbur. Go away!" Wilbur fell to his knees, pressing his hands tighter and tighter to block out the sound. I thought I'd gotten rid of you. You said you were going to leave me alone." A sudden pain laced up Wilbur's arms, and he opened his eyes to find Technoblade kneeling in front of him, his hand an iron grip around Wilbur's wrist. Tommy was gone. When did that happen? And the silence he left behind was almost as bad as his screaming. "Come back to me, Wilbur," Technoblade ordered. "Who do you hear?" "You," Wilbur said haltingly. He was not for this act, not for the stage. "And the voices." Technoblade nodded, easing his grip on Wilbur's wrist. "I can help you." "No one can." Wilbur squeezed his eyes shut, but all he could see was his mother's still form, father's letter. "Wilbur, look at me." Wilbur shook his head. "I can't." "Then listen to me. I can help you," Technoblade repeated firmly, "because I have voices too." Wilbur's lungs began to ache with the quickness of his breaths. "You do?" He sounded like a child, seeking comfort from a distant figure, but there was too much pain to make room for shame. "I do," Technoblade said. "So breathe with me until they go away. We can figure out the next step together." That was all they did. They breathed in and out and in again. Technoblade's hand on his wrist and the sickly sweet smell of rotting flowers keeping him rooted to the ground, to the universe. In and out and in again. And in between one breath and the next, Wilbur finally remembered where he'd heard the name Technoblade before. "Father," Wilbur swallowed down a sob. "He told me a story once when he was young, the first time the voices ever talked to me. He told me a story about an immortal god who's doomed to hear voices in his head forever. A blood god. Technoblade." "You're a god?" "Don't worry about that now." His voice was distant but kind. "It doesn't matter." But I don't remember how the story ended." Exhaustion was a heavy blanket weighing him down until he was leaning on Technoblade's shoulder. His throat felt raw, like he'd eaten broken glass. "The story has no end," the voices said, but they sounded distant too. "Tell me how the story ends," Wilbur begged, even as he felt the last of his conscience slowly fracturing into nothingness. "Tell me you'll still be here when I close the book." Wilbur, Technoblade mumbled something too low to hear, and then he said, "Okay, I'll be here." Wilbur wanted to say more, or perhaps he didn't. Outside, somewhere far beyond, bells begin to toll, chiming his mother's death ballad, heralding his ascension. Tell the boys I'm sorry, his father's voice this time as quiet as the rest. In between one breath and the next, Wilbur was king. In between one breath and the next, he was asleep. Ooh. I had to go to full face so I can check. Oh my god, we've been live for an exact hour. That was always, like, when I first read that, I was just like, no. But it's also not the worst chapter, in my opinion. Yeah, that was so good. I enjoyed it. Do I need to turn on my ring light? Ooh. Where is that? I swear the light is getting dimmer. Yeah. Anyways, when I first read that, I was originally planning on reading 2 chapters today, but let me tell you, when I read in my head, it doesn't take me that long. It doesn't take me that long to read in my head, but like reading out loud, it takes me so much longer because I feel like I stumble. I'm trying to fix my camera. I feel like I stumble on my words more. So like, I don't know. And the chapters just get longer and longer. Oh, Ash, I was gonna show you. It's fine, it was enjoyable. I'm glad. I'm sorry for all of the stuttering. Like, there were so many interruptions in that chapter. My brain just decided to, just not. But yes, Ash, I got a new plant. It's a really tiny plant, but the thing is I left it in my brother's car. So I can't show you until the next time I stream, which will hopefully be on Thursday. I know I have to get, I already said this, but I have to get a few, like, COVID shots. Not shots for COVID, but like a few shots I have to catch up on. I know, it's so cute. I named it Harlow. It's really cute. It's a really cute little plant. And then I have another plant named Ezra. But I can show you that plant next week because me and my friends it's a long story. I can explain later. Or I can just explain now. So, Mac bought, because Mac's my best friend, bought me and them their own little plants. Like 2 little plants. I have like a tiny little succulent thing that's like a tall one, and then Mac has a little cactus. And so it's we've started saying that, oh yeah, these are our children, and so we're gonna switch them off every week. So hopefully on Thursday I might do like a late night. I might do like a late night stream on Thursday. Probably not past 10 because I usually go to bed at 10, so I'm not too tired for school. So, I don't know what time, but hopefully I will stream on Thursday again. Well, I will stream on Thursday. I promise that. It'll just be a late night stream. I won't be streaming tomorrow, and then I might be able to stream this weekend at some point. I might be staying at my dad's this weekend, so I might be able to stream more. It's not that much different, but yeah, I'm just gonna play music while we're trying to find. We can just continue with Little Smile. I might just let this this little Wilbur set thing continue, and then and then I'll just end the stream whenever this ends, I guess. I don't know, we can have like a little chatty thing, or I don't know what songs are on this, so I don't know if I'd sing any of them. Hold on, I'm gonna check real quick. What? It's not I have, honey, it's a work of art. I really want Will to release that one. Oh, yeah. I remember this song. I'm in love with an e-girl. I did an art piece. I know, Soft Boy is so good. I'll play that one next. I remember there was an art piece that I did that has to do with the song. Hold on, I'm gonna get it, but it's under my bed, so I'm going to do that real quick as I get it. But it is so cool, man. It is a really cool art piece because it was like a finish the lyrics kind of art piece. Okay, I'm back. You can see the tiny little box. That box is from my old school that has a bunch of stuff in it. But yeah, I did an art piece where we had to paint or draw lyrics, and that's what I did. Oh, you can see my cat's paw right there. Anyways, yeah, it's a little trashy because I was trying to rush it, but I don't know how well. Hold on, let me make this the light dimmer. Maybe that'll work better. That does work better. Okay. So hold on, let me go to the beginning of the song and do the lyrics from there. Okay. Well, it's 2:45 p.m. Wake up from snoring. Open Tim's can of Red Bull by the bed. Babe is. You can get the general idea of like where what is what and everything. But yeah, each of the lyrics, it has like a different like thing that goes with it. Yeah. I know the bed kind of sucks. It was the last day and I had to turn it in like a minute, so I had to do it really quickly. Hi Pumpkin. My cat is like stretching on my bed. Yeah, I'm gonna get my cat. If she bites me, clip it. It'll be funny probably. let me get the cat, and then also you don't get to see my pants. Come here, baby. Please don't bite me, baby. Pumpkin. Hi, baby. Whoa, wow. Feet cam. Okay, don't. You're gonna bite me. She's gonna bite me. I swear to God, she's gonna bite me. Okay. This is one of my cats. This is Pumpkin. Look at the camera. Don't stop. No. This is Pumpkin. She's like 5, I think. She's my child. She almost bit me. She's very tempered. She will bite you. If you try to pet her, there's only very few times in people that she'll let pet her. So, yeah, that's very fun. And I swear that this is like a tank top, not a crop top. Like, it's a tank top, not a crop. It's not a crop top, I swear. And I swear my room is clean. It's just I didn't make my bed. And that's definitely not something on my floor. And thank you, she's really cute. I can try to get Potato, my other cat, in here next stream. Mandy, my dog, she's not allowed upstairs because she's really old. So, thank you for saying that she's cute. It's hot in here, man. But yeah. Then we're gonna see it. But Potato's like a really, really fluffy calico cat. I can try that. Ooh, I did a thing. Pumpkin, what are you eating? Oops. That is a bag that she's eating. She's currently eating a bag, and I might need to stop her. Let me see if I have a picture of her, because I thought I uploaded a picture. It is hot, but I can't turn on my fan or else it'll be messed up. Oh, that's a sound. That's a song. Oops. Life's not quite what I thought I'd be when I was a kid on DMP. I thought when I get older I'd marry her. I told her. Now I'm 26 and I work in an office 9 to 5. So the best, I'll be honest. If I could change a single thing, I'd make it me and I am. He's in your bed and I'm in your Oh, even though he's got social skills, doesn't mean I can pay the bills. Oops, here, let me just show this one picture. I don't know why it's sideways, but hey, look. Hold on, let me just make it smaller. Let me just make it smaller. Bear, why is that all the way over there? Hold on, bear with me here. Bear with me. I don't know why it's sideways. I will fix that in a second. I just need to make this smaller. What is it? What do you press shift? Well, anyways, here's a sideways picture of an accidental Among Us quackity that me and my brother made. Me and my brother accidentally made an Among Us quackity. I don't know why. What is it? Or it's like something to make it turn. I don't know. It won't turn. But anyways, here's a little Among Us quackity. And yes, I did take a picture with my phone because my brother almost deleted it. So there's that, a little Among Us quackity. I don't have a lot of pictures on my drive. One I made last 23. Oh, here's another one that I did really quickly. Oh, that's just me. Hi, that was a practice stream. Ignore that. Where I just like recorded everything. And yes, I have a box behind me. Yes, my bed is messy. Ignore me. This is the exact day that I got my PC, that my new PC came. So that's why it's all messy. Anyway, here's this thing that was in chat. The Hi Dream, you're the guy from Fortnite. I thought that was pretty hilarious. So, there's that. I'm just sharing like pictures off of my drive. I don't know what most of these things are. Every day. How on earth can I be saved? Think about him a lot as well. Maybe if he wasn't fine as hell. Your beauty and your grace. Your telephone calls are my favorite place, and I want you to notice. Oh, here's a really, really funny picture. So basically this is something I found on the internet where a bot wrote an obituary. And I found it so incredibly hilarious. I saved it on my drive and I shall read it because I could not get through this the first time. So here's this. Brenda Tent retired from living at the age of old, surrounded by family and natural causes. A librarian from birth, Brenda was an avid collector of dust. She had a sweetheart and married her high school. She loved having hobbies and helping her sons to be disadvantaged youths. She had no horses, but thought she did. The church gave her a choir because she sang like a bird and looked like a bird, and Brenda was a bird. She owed us so many poems. The funeral will be held in 1977 at Heaven. In lieu of flowers, send Brenda more life. So there's that. Cat is. I won't where the cat is. Won't where the cat. It's not an Ika hoodie, it's a work of art. Looking for a window to another world. I don't feel as lost and bored. I just don't want to be a soft boy anymore. I want to be yours. I don't remember that lyric, but I'm a giraffe. Oversized sweater, but I'm cool. It's not an Igal hoodie, it's a work of art. Turned on my reflection in passing cars. I'm looking for a window to another world where I don't feel as lost and bored. I don't wanna be a soft boy anymore. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. It's not an Igal hoodie, it's a work of art. Feelings are to another world where. But yes, this shall be the end of my stream, Ash, and anybody else who has watched. So, I shall see you all next time. Bye.